Hey everybody, Brian Bauman, and for today, I wanted to take you on a little adventure. It's fall, right around the corner, and everybody always asks me, like, do you grow all the apples on the farm? Where do those come from? So today, I wanted to take you down to Grandma and Grandpa's place. It's just down the road, it's about a mile from here, and that's where all of our main orchards are at. So come on in, hop in the pickup, and we're gonna go for a ride. So it's funny, as a kid, for those of you who don't know, I grew up in the blue house right in the parking lot. In fact, I get in trouble because I call it the blue house, and everybody says it's gray. But to me, it's blue. And as a kid, we would help out on the farm at our place, where mom and dad, where I grew up. But Grandma and Grandpa's farm is where the main farm is at. That's where my great-grandmother started the farm in 1895. And that's where all of our main orchards are at. And I loved going down there. As a kid, you know, mom and dad were always working. Grandma was really in charge of us growing up. So we had to work in the morning. We'd get up, we'd pick berries, we'd do our thing. And then at 11 o'clock every day, that was our time that we got to go in and help Grandma make lunch for everybody. Lunch was a big meal on the farm that all of us kind of came in from the field and talked about what we did in the morning, what's got to be done in the afternoon. And I loved going in with Grandma and making lunch with her. It was just such a great time to spend with her. It's only a mile down the road, so I spent a lot of time just riding my bike back and forth a lot. And the farmers in between the two of us got very used to Brian, like running through the middle of their fields or whatever it took, because Grandma and Grandpa's place is kind of nestled right along the Pudding River. And while Pudding River doesn't sound like the greatest place in the world to go swimming, it was my favorite place. All of us cousins would get together. We'd work till like 1 or 2 in the afternoon, and then we'd go swimming every single day all summer. Didn't matter how cold or how warm it was. It was our favorite place to spend. So you'll see when we get down there. But it's not that far away. So kind of a funny little tidbit. We're going down, Grandma and Grandpa live down a gravel road, but both of my Grandma and Grandpas live down this road. If Jessica pans out the front window here, so this piece of property is actually my mom's parents' property. And now my uncle lives here. Kind of everything to the right of the gravel road is all Baumans, or that we all farm together. And then the next house here, this is the house that my grandfather was actually born in, my dad's dad. So yeah, both of my grandparents lived right next door to each other. My parents were next door neighbors growing up, which is kind of a cute story between the two of them. But this is the original farm that was started in 1895. So on the right here is actually our kiwi grove. Grandpa was one of the first people that started growing kiwis, and I think, as the story goes, he was all excited. He planted this big grove of kiwis, and we got really cold that year, and he lost everything. And a couple of years later, they came out with a new variety, and that's those right there. They've been in there my entire life. And the hops over here are the neighbors, but now we're coming up on our apple trees. There's lots, you can see everybody's out here picking apples. Things are starting to come in, so let's go out and see what we can find. So these are all the apple trees that we have at the farm. This orchard has been here a long time. We're kind of always changing trees and stuff as things go along. Chances are, if you like apples, Honeycrisp is probably one of your favorites. I remember as a kid, we used to go on these tours kind of all over the country, kind of seeing how other farm markets grew things. And I remember being on this bus tour and this guy bringing in a box of apples when I was a kid, and he was like, "This is the new greatest thing ever." And he handed us all Honeycrisp apples. It was one of the first people that was growing them, and they were delicious, and they are delicious. And that's what these are right here, Honeycrisp. You can see these trees, we talked a lot about like pruning trees and stuff, and this is a great example of a tree that the center is open so the sun comes down through the middle. You have all the apples on the outside, and all the apples are kind of neatly spaced apart. It takes a lot of work to grow apples. We have a crew, the guy that's in charge of the crew that does all these apples, his name is Lupe. And Lupe, I can't remember a time on the farm when he wasn't here. And I'm in my 40s now, so he has to have been working here for over 40 years. And that guy is an expert at pruning the apples, thinning the apples, taking care of them. If you have apples at home, one of the things that people ask me a lot of times is, how do you know when they're ripe and ready? And the thing is, you have to, I mean, yeah, it's nice to have some color and stuff on them, but this is one of the things I love to do with my dad is you come down, Dad would get out his knife, we'd slice open the apples, and what you're looking for is a brown seed in the center. That is your cue that you have a ripe apple. And this one is ready. Come on, I want to show you some other varieties. Okay, here is not only another different variety of apples, but this variety is grown on a trellis. So there's wires that run through here. The idea behind it is that you can grow apples, the trees, a lot faster to produce apples faster. When the tree is freestanding like the other one we were looking at, you have to wait for the stalks to kind of beef up to hold all that weight when the apples are ripe. In this way, the apples, the wires are going to help hold up the apples. So we can actually pack it fuller, faster. And you can see in here, like, this is just loaded with apples this year. These look so good. This is actually a really cool variety. It's called Akani. It's a little bit of an early variety, but I think the cool thing about it is that it was developed in like the 1930s. The idea was they were trying to develop apples that would hold up longer, taste great, better disease resistant, because they were trying to get more food to feed all the troops of World War II. This variety was developed in Japan. It's called Akani, which in Japanese literally kind of translates to deep red. Beautiful red color, great disease resistance, really great flavor, and it's really delicious. It's awesome. Jessica, come on over here. I want to show you. So you can see like all the branches and stuff going through here. One of the things that we do sometimes varieties kind of get phased out. We don't need as many of those trees. We can actually go through here and cut off the branches, and we'll take what they call scion wood of different varieties that we want to grow more of, and then we'll actually graft those into here, and we can start whole new varieties growing right on these trellises right here. Grandma and Grandpa's place is where we have most of our orchards, but we've been growing so many different varieties of apples, we needed to plant some new orchards. So I wanted to take you over to my sister Sarah's house because we have some new orchards and some new varieties. So hop back in, let's go for a ride. All right, we're on our way back from Grandma and Grandpa's house. Farm is right here. It's like talking about apples, driving by the pumpkin patch. It's fall is in the air for sure. My sister and me live really close to the farm, which is a good thing and a bad thing, but we'll save that for another video. But Sarah lives just down the road from the farm. It's, I don't know, not even a quarter mile away. But we just didn't have enough room at Grandma and Grandpa's for everything that we were growing, and I think that's one thing I love about what we do on the farm is we're always trying new varieties and trying new things. And my dad has got some really cool different new varieties coming on. So I wanted to take you over there and show you some of them. These bins of apples are coming in fast and furious. We're over at Sarah and Ryan's house now. You can see these apples are all up on trellises, kind of similar to how we had some of them at Grandma and Grandpa's house. There's a lot of different varieties here. We grow, like I said, over 40 some different varieties. This is a newer variety of Gala apples. These are called Buckeyes. They are super red, which I love. A lot of times the redness in the flesh will give you an indication of how sweet an apple is. It's the sugar content of the flesh, when the sun hits it, will turn red. So that's why Red Delicious, some of the other varieties, they're gonna be a lot sweeter because you see that red texture on it, and look at the color on these. Really great apples. I always tell people ask me, like, what's your favorite variety of apple? I do not have a single favorite variety of apple because there's new varieties coming in each week, and whatever variety is fresh off the tree, that is the varieties that you want. Something fresh, picked within the last couple days. So when you come out to the farm, just ask us which varieties are new and coming in. We'll always give you a sample of it because you want to try it. I mean, there are different tastes and textures to each apple, but there's nothing beating a fresh apple off the tree. I want to show you a couple more varieties. So I'm going to show you a couple varieties that are not ready yet. We are right now end of August. It'll be a couple weeks before some of these varieties hit our shelves, but they're really cool, and I wanted to show you some of them. So this variety right here is called Ludacrisp. There is apple growing association in the Midwest called the Midwest Apple Improvement Association. I said it right. And they've come out with a whole bunch of different varieties that have Honeycrisp kind of set the stage, and now everyone's kind of playing with it, coming up new ones. One of their more popular ones is called Evercrisp, which we also grow. That to me is the firmest apple you will ever bite into. Super, super crisp. This one is the one that came after Evercrisp for them. This one is called Ludacrisp. Very crispy apple. The thing that makes this one so different is that its flavor is really fruity, flavorful, like Juicy Crisp or like Juicy Crisp gum, you know, like it's very firm but has a really unique flavor. So put this on your watch list for a couple weeks. Here's another variety that's going to be coming in a couple weeks. They're not ready yet. This variety is called Candy Crisp, and check it out. It's already like the size of this apple barely fits in the palm of my hand. This variety was developed by a company called Stark Brothers. Really crispy, keeps up to 4 months. Probably is going to be more towards the end of September, middle to end of September that they'll come in. Big juicy apples, great flavor. Boy, these things are going to be huge. So this variety is new to me. I was walking down the field and I'm like, I don't even know what this is. I had to Google it. So this one's called Baker's Delight, and it's a newer variety. It's supposed to be obviously really good for baking, and it has the flavor was described as having hints of vanilla, honey, sweet, delicious. Like, I'm excited. It's not quite ready. Probably about, like I said, we're end of August right now. I'd say mid-September we're going to have this available on the farm. Keep an eye on our Facebook and Instagram. We post a lot of posts on there about what's coming and when they're in the store. Another thing that you want to, our Harvest Festival is going to start September 21st. And as part of that, we do a big apple tasting area where we lay out bins of all the different apples that are coming in, and we slice them up. It's free for you to try them, figure out which ones you like. We'll talk about what they're good for. Mark that down on your calendar. It's going to be September 21st through October, the end of October, every weekend through October. Our Harvest Festival is going. Apples are just starting. Apple cider is around the corner. Make sure you subscribed and stay tuned because there's tons of stuff coming out this fall at Bauman Farms.